Delta today. It's your midday platform for thoughtful conversations on the political, environmental, and socio-economic realities shaping the Niger Delta region. My name is Xavier Robert. Across the region, one conversation that refuses to fade away is the future of Ogoniland, a place whose name has become synonymous with the global struggle for environmental justice. Nearly 3 decades after oil production was halted there, discussions about a possible resumption gathering momentum again. But as that conversation unfolds, civil society groups and community advocates are raising new conditions. They say before any oil company drills again in Ogoni soil, certain historical, environmental, and justice questions must first be answered and addressed. Today, we take a closer look at what those conditions mean, what they say about the future of oil exploration in the Niger Delta, and whether genuine reconciliation between the state, oil companies, and host communities is truly within reach. Myself and Jennifer Pius on this one. Jenny, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon and happy new week.
Yes. How have you been? You had a terrific weekend?
Yeah, well, we spent half of it here, and the rest.
That is the job.
Yeah, that's how it happens. But there's something interesting, and I think I should let you do this one. Well, we just celebrated International Women's Day.
Absolutely.
I was waiting for you to still tell me that.
Well, happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. So you can take the next one.
You guys have all the weeks, all the years. I don't know how many. I think I lost count. How many days we celebrate women?
We have,
but it's good. Well, on our story of interest today, we bring an issue shaping the cultural and intellectual future of the Niger Delta, which unfolded in Delta State. For the first time, Delta hosted a World Book Day festival, an initiative aimed at reviving reading culture, strengthening libraries, and reconnecting young people with literature and creativity. The festival, organized by Lightway Media Books and Creative Society, was recently flagged off in Asaba and is designed to run as a year-long literary event program, bring competitions, workshops, book clubs, performance arts, and creative showcases. At the heart of the conversation is a concern many educators and authors share that reading culture in Nigeria is quietly fading, especially in schools and rural communities where libraries are disappearing and book clubs are becoming rare. Leading this initiative is acclaimed author and communications entrepreneur, founder of Lightway Media Books and Creative Society, whose best-selling novel Distortion has also been adopted by the Delta State Ministry of Education as a recommended literature text. Lady Eji Mokoro joins us now to talk about behind the festival and why rebuilding Delta's and indeed Nigeria's reading culture may be more urgent than we realize. So welcome on the program. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I mean, this is a good conversation for us to have. And it is more timely because following several research that we conducted and realizing that the educational percentile across Delta State and indeed Nigeria was from the 95th point to the 45th in some communities, and even better in other communities, it became we need to close this gap. Social media is not a place where we read. Social media is a place where people have a cruise. You know, people bring, so it's so defined and opinion dominated. Reading on the other, what it does for you is that reading takes you to a space where you need to critically think. And that process of creative thinking, of how you read a text, a word, you visualize, you're able to see in your own mind, the ability to deliberately cultivate that process. As intellectual reading. And we would see intellectual reading become apparent even in the creative solutions that we derive things from and how our problems in Nigeria. Look at the civil service. One of the banes of the civil service is what we call illiteracy. So you are having a situation where there are literate people, but they are refusing to read. And how can you be a pro and you are not reading? How do you become a professional and you're not advancing the conversation of how your own space, for example, no matter the department, you're not making impact? How are you not on yourself on what's the latest data, the latest information, findings, research, and feedback, right, about a given situation or job or task or even development needed in your communities. And that is why this has become important, so that across the 25 local governments in Delta State, we say this activity about engaging physical books, the use of physical books, the use of going to libraries to books and read in libraries, the idea that we must move away from turning miracle centers to replace libraries, that has to stop today. Miracle centers are not libraries. They are not resource centers to learn. They are diminishing our children's value, their intellect, their critical thinking, and their physical, mental contribution to our society's development.
Looking at the improving the culture of reading, we've often had the talk about access, and we see that some areas are more deprived, should I say. We have state libraries mostly located in urban areas, and you go to rural areas, we barely have any of such. Even the state libraries that are in urban areas are not well funded and not really paying attention to physical books. And how is this supposed to handle this issue of access between both the urban and the rural areas?
That's a great question. Now, let us look at the way we have resources for political mobilization. How do we invest and budget money for mobilization for political moves, but we don't budget enough for our education? When you look at the budget in many states in Nigeria, and even the federal government, education does not command the kind of funding and support that it needs. So what do we need to now do to bridge this gap? We need to create what is called book clubs. In Delta State, for example, we have the Literary Books and Literary Society, right? We have the Asaba Literacy and Reading Club. We have Liverbook and one other book clubs in Warri. So in the whole of Delta, we only have 4 book clubs. Isn't that a shame? So we're saying that even in communities, book clubs can be in their indigenous languages. We can read our own indigenous languages. And that is why that policy that the federal government has to say that our indigenous languages of instruction, but must be superseded by a foreign language brought by persons who were invaders to our space, who took over our way of thinking. Because a people's culture is reflected in the depth, in the quality of the language that they use. English is not our language. No matter how much we learn it, there's a nuanceness to this language that we never get. But our own indigenous pidgin language can even be elevated to the point that it can be a powerful language of instruction. I mean, you see a foreign media outside Nigeria using our own pidgin language to do what? Communicate with people in the rural areas, and even the so-called elitists understand pidgin. So what we're saying is that that's why this program is going to all 25 local governments in Delta State, so that no community is left behind. Delta has only 27 technically functioning libraries and 4 more or less book clubs. That is insane. It's a no-no. And reason why this is happening is because we're not seeing the ministries themselves and the different library boards who are supposed to be in charge of education, right? Who are supposed to be in charge of this awareness campaign. Even NOAA needs to do more, the National Orientation Agency. So for me today, I am formally announcing that we have a dedicated Nigeria World Book Day, where all the authors in Nigeria are celebrated. One of the reasons people don't read is because authors are not as elevated and celebrated to the magnitude at which we celebrate so-called politicians. Even the comedians have more say, more gravitas and acknowledgement and commendation compared to writers. And writers are the people who galvanize a society. If you do research and your research is not well written, if your data is not accurate, it takes critical thinking to be able to use critical judgment to separate and discredit data when necessary. So one of the things we need to do is the idea of this book club and the Literary Discussion World Book Day Festival, which is going to be a year-long event, starting with the first 3 months critical phase 1 launch pad, is that we're going to be getting communities, even in their areas where local languages can form book clubs. Local languages can become a center for library where people go and get information that is needed.
To let you go, but I see you're very spirited and passionate about this subject matter. But then you mentioned something that struck a chord, and that is how we can deploy local languages more for the purpose of using them for instruction. And then there's that gap of vocabulary, boosting the vocabulary. And we notice that there are some words that we cannot find in our local dialects. Who do you think own the responsibility of ensuring that these languages are at par, so that if we were to indeed deploy them for instructions, we can indeed be able to do that effectively without still falling back to the foreign languages to be able to do that?
Okay, let me quickly say this. The fault is ours. We have a pedagogy system in Nigeria. We are not updating this pedagogy. The reason why English is becoming has become a universal language was because people consciously in charge of that language deliberately went across countries to ensure that the pedagogy is always evolving. And that's why the English language is not as the original language that you know from Britannia, that is old Britannia before it became the empire or whatever they call it today. You can see infusions from French. You can see now many Nigerian words have actually been introduced into the dictionaries, right? So that tells you that any language can evolve itself as long as those in charge of its pedagogy are consistently and systematically committed to ensuring that these languages do not fall into space. And let me tell you, the advantage we have in the era of AI rather, is that our languages can now be preserved. Because look at Google Translation, for example. When you type on social media, you're not sure of a language, you just click translate, and then you see it automatically present itself. So we must understand that this is another space where we want to add value to the development of the large language models that AI curates from to create the content or information from time to time. And that's why I'm glad that we have officially decided that March 6th, of every year, we build Delta's own World Book Day, courtesy of Literary Distortion World Book Day Festival. Thank you so much.
And world advancement when it comes to reading habits and culture. Nigeria had its own shock during the COVID lockdown when we had to bring in introduction of e-learning, and that really shook the country. And you're talking of physical libraries. How do we transit that too and embrace the advancement in the world when we're talking of e-libraries as well?
Fantastic. So, life is an evolution. E-libraries means that the world has gone digitalized, and that's fine. So physical communities are important. We cannot be disconnected people. We need to survive as an interdependent species. And if we're going to do that, we have to deliberately create habits, behaviors, activities that encourage the coming together of a people. So, for example, many town halls exist. These town halls do not even function for any other purpose other than maybe once in 4 years when it's time for election. So town halls cannot just be like that. We can create town halls to become mini centers where digitalized libraries also exist. So they cohabit at the same time. There is nothing wrong with keeping the traditional way of book storage and cataloging, and we need to really train our librarians in Nigeria with regards to this matter, because part of the reason why the libraries are collapsing is because we don't have sophisticated librarians who know their job, are committed to it, passionate about it, and we give it everything they need. So we need to train them. That's one. We need to improve the infrastructure too. We need to create campaigns that make people feel, oh my God, this is a place to come and sit down and have fun. Create workspaces in this library so that young people today who like to just go Wi-Fi. Imagine having a place where there's Wi-Fi and you think students will not come, you think young people will not come, you think people will not gather themselves and come. So we need to be very creative, and that's why reading is important, because reading helps us to be creative solution providers. And that's why this is so important, that we be a part of the solution. Create the environment. Wi-Fi is ready. The place feels cool for people to sit. It can be a workspace area. People know they can easily get digital access. I mean, you make all of that comfortable. There could be popcorns, there could be soft drinks and things like that that people can order at a relatively cheap rate. And I tell you, once people know that this is the kind of center they have, they will look forward to being part of it. And it costs nothing to do it. And that's why I am really on this matter. For one, the Abuja National Library should be done. It should not be a political statement. We don't want people to use Abuja Library to raise funds and then happens. And that's why we must have a Nigerian National World Book Day, and I'm glad we are officially also setting up Delta's own Delta's World Book Day.
When it comes to reward system for activities regarding books, reading, literature, it is almost not as attractive as what we see on entertainment angles and other sectors. And how are we supposed to advance or draw interest for people to read when incentives are not even as interesting as it should be?
Incentives are not even as interesting as they should be. So there are two things here. Reading in itself should be fun. Like, if parents have done their job in the first instance, because it starts from the home, how many homes have libraries? That's one. How many fathers today sit with newspapers, even on their phone, tell their children to consciously say, I'm reading a newspaper, I'm trying to get what's up on today's news or what's happening in the world? How many parents sit down and actually hold a book in the presence of their children? So when we talk about book reading, love for book and book reading culture, it starts from the home first. So let us hold our parents accountable. I grew up in a home where language was a thing. My father had the reading culture, my mom had it, and the reading system and habits, take note, they say reading habits were instilled in me from the get-go. So right from even when I was in my mother's womb, my father was reading to me. That's one. Then two, incentives, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if you go to Britain, for example, or the US, you will see that the British Council actually supports consistently the creative industry. Even the British Council does that. I mean, we should learn from them because more or less we are actually copying practically most of the things they do. So we select what we practice, we copy, right? So book culture, the creative industry funded. And I noticed that in Nigeria, one of the things I discovered about supporting the book reading culture and even was and writers is that we notice certain industries. Let me give an example. A bank, I will not mention the name. It's a bank was saying, we want to support writers, we want to support authors. And they said, you go ahead, I will give you this grant. They made it look like a grant. But towards the end, under the terms of condition, which many people did not read because the prints were so tiny, it says that they will now have a right in perpetuity to your copyright of your intellectual work. Do you see how nasty that matter is? That you want to take the right of an author from them? And then we noticed one that the federal government did about funding for the creatives. And you needed to see the criteria in which they listed to support you. But at the end of the day, they actually wanted to have ownership in your businesses. So they give this to these consultants who, by the way, sometimes behave in a very questionable manner. Maybe they get their own people, right? And make sure they know the nitty-gritty, the step-by-step, help them navigate it, get this fund, build into their partnership and have some sense of ownership over it. So we need to have this reconversation about this. And that's one of the things we wanted to do with the Literary Distortion World Book Day in Delta State. The first ever was to create these kinds of incentive. We have over $500,000 Naira prizes to be given, for example, for the best, most set up, vibrant, active and relevant book club in Delta State. We also have bookathons that are coming in. There will be so much prizes that they will be winning in that category. Then we have people who, because the distortion series, the distortion itself, and the distortion of Hadassah, these two distortion books have different thematic stories, from human rights abuses to governance to Osuke system, for example. They have so many topics that are there. So you pick a topic and decide, okay, I want to use AI to create a short film that focus on a thematic area. It could be on baby farm for that matter, right? Or even mental health, because we explore that. So you choose a category And for each category on the Global World Book Day marked on the 23rd of April, where other 100 countries do the same thing as well, we are going to be onboarding everybody who has come out from across the 25 local government areas who choose book club setup, who want to be part of the bookathon, who want to be in spoken word poetry, who wants to be drama performance. So performance art spaces are there for anybody who wants to translate and interpret these books in that manner. And there are going to be lots and lots of prizes. As I speak with you now, there have been individuals, when we did the flag of Distortion Literary World Book Festival, there have been individuals who said, I'm adopting a school and I'm sponsoring them to come and be part of the competition. They will come under the category of book clubs. Some said, no, ours is going to be the bookathon. Others said, no, we will take the drama category. Some said, we will go for the skits. Another said, we will try and do AI because
with Lady Ejiro Mokoro, founder and president of Light Ray Media and the author of the Distortion series, Hadassah and Distortion. Over the weekend, she had launched the first ever Delta State World Book Day, tagged the Light Ray Distortion World Book Day. And she's the recipient of the United States Agency for Global Media Changemaker Award and also award winner of the British Council International Communications Entrepreneurs Award. And it was a delight to have her share some light on this issue of re-engineering the culture of reading, not just in the Niger Delta, but across Nigeria. We take a break in the Niger Delta.
And it was a delight to have her share some light on this issue of re-engineering the culture of reading, not just the life across Nigeria.
First on Niger Delta updates, Benin City, the Edo State capital, has won a $1 million Global Innovation Prize in the Bloomberg Majors Challenge, placing the city among leading urban centers recognized for developing practical solutions to public challenges. The competition attracted over 600 cities worldwide, with only 25 cities across 20 countries, making the final list, of which Benin City also emerged as one of 4 African cities to reach the global winners circle. Reacting to the recognition, Edo State Governor Monday Okpeholo described the achievement as a reflection of the state government's commitment to innovation and efforts to strengthen healthcare delivery across Edo State. The governor commended the Edo State Ministry of Health and other members of the project team, noting that the award highlights Benin City's growing reputation for forward-thinking governance and innovative public sector reforms.
Another adult state, Mondo Okpeholo, has continued to touch the lives of adult people through direct intervention, this time by paying the medical bills of several patients during a visit to Ira Specialist Teaching Hospital, where he also met a young mother who had just delivered a baby girl after seeking assistance for her sick husband. 21-year-old Martha Samuel had earlier approached the governor for financial support for her husband, who is receiving treatment following a fire incident in Uromi, where she suddenly went into labor. Medical personnel were immediately placed, leading to the safe delivery of a baby girl weighing 3.3 kilograms through the cesarean section. During this visit, Governor Okpeholo moved through all the working with patients.
I have to, first of all, go and see the new baby and at the same time see the husband, which we have already agreed with the hospital management plus other patients that we met at the hospital. So we have agreed to pay those bills for them so that their treatment can continue. And by the grace of God, we believe that the man will recover speedily and other people will meet at the ICU unit that they will also recover speedily.
In recognition of the 2026 International Women's Day, the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Pastor Moino, has reaffirmed his administration's dedication to ensuring that women are actively included in governance, public leadership, and key decision-making processes. Speaking at the state's official celebration held at Godswill National Stadium in New York, which also had in attendance Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Governor Moino emphasized that the presence of women in society is a reminder of their ability to shape the future and grow a nation.
It is a celebration of the remarkable strength, dedication, contributions, and achievement of women across the world. This year's theme, Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, is a call to action, protecting the rights of our women and girls by ensuring access to education, economic empowerment, health, social protection, and equity is an investment in our collective future. Encourage every
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has assured Nigerian women of greater inclusivity in governance, noting that their prayers and contributions will continue to receive recognition under the present administration. Mrs. Tinubu gave the assurance during the 2026 celebration of International Women's Day at the Godswill International Stadium. Speaking on the theme, Rights, Justice, Actions for All Women and Girls, the First Lady urged women to remain positive agents of change and align with the reform programs of the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
Today is a celebration of the remarkable strength, dedication, contributions, and achievement of women across the world. This year's theme, Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, is a call to action, protecting the rights of our women and girls by ensuring access to education, economic empowerment, health, social protection, and equity is an investment in our collective future. I encourage every woman here to be a positive tool for change in your homes, businesses, communities, and your state at large. When women lead with purpose.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the massive turnout and endorsement for another term reflected the confidence of the people in the President, the Senate's leadership, and the state government.
Never seen this kind of unity before in Akwa Ibom. Today, the women of Akwa Ibom, who do not lie. Did you hear what I said? Women of Akwa Ibom who do not play tricks. Women of Akwa Ibom who do not talk from both sides of their mouths. Women of Akwa Ibom who are steadfast, who are disciplined, who have integrity, have decided today, this 7th day of March 2026, World Global Women's Day, that they will use this occasion, and they have used this occasion, to endorse President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR for a second term.
Earlier, the wife of the Senate President, Ekaito Norma Akpabio, alongside wives of national legislators, reaffirmed support for President Tinubu, Senate President Akpabio, and Governor Moino, while the Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, highlighted the importance of the event in advancing gender inclusion and empowerment.
We knew that God had given us a great leader, a president, who means well for the downtrodden, the vulnerable, who means well for the generality of Nigerians, irrespective of where they are from. Our mother just affirmed what the women have said on this International Women's Day, 26.
The Nigerian women are happy that come 27, that we're going to speak with one voice. We're going to come out in mass. The women have always been with Mr. President, but because of his love and nurturing of women, because of his prioritization of the women agenda, come 2027, we will show him love.
In a presentation, Akwa Ibom women led by the State Deputy Governor Akone Yayi and Lady Helena Baraki proclaimed support for President Tinubu, Senate President Akpabio, and Governor Moino for another term in office.
the women of Akwa Ibom State resolve that today is International Women's Day, not campaign, but we feel that it is the best moment for us of the women of Akwa Ibom State to be heard. Whereas President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, of Akwa Ibom State resolve that today is International Women's Day, not campaign, but we feel that it is the best moment for the voice of the women of Akwa Ibom State to be heard. Whereas President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR,
Sides of Niger Delta updates. We take a breather and turn our sights on the focus of the day. To stay tuned.
For your news on the go, ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Be in community today via our various platforms. Anavo TV at ADBN Channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Linuxwell TV app. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp page for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across social media handles at ADBN TV. Instagram at ADBN TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV. Keep visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
The overall function of the parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes the federation.
Of fuel subsidy, resources to critical sectors such as education and health. A call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays as we bring you at the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
Thanks for staying tuned. The story of Ogoni land is one that sits at the intersection of environmental degradation, community rights, and Nigeria's oil economy. Of course, we remember the history. Oil production in the area has remained suspended since the early 1990s following intense protests led by the Movement for the Survival of the Ogoni People and the subsequent political crisis that culminated in the execution of environmental activist Ken Tarawiwa and 8 others in 1995, a moment that drew worldwide condemnation and reshaped global conversations around corporate accountability and environmental justice. Fast forward to today. The federal government has begun fresh engagements aimed at reopening discussions around oil exploration in Ogoni land. But civil society groups are insisting that before any drilling resumes, critical demands must be addressed. On the table are demands for the full implementation of the United Nations Environment Program UNEP report on Ogoni pollution, recognition of the Ogoni Bill of Rights, justice for the Ogoni 9, and greater community participation in any future oil venture. So what exactly are these new conditions? Are they achievable, and what might they mean for the future of resource governance in the Niger Delta? We have joined us for this crucial conversation President of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative, Mr. Douglas Fabeke, joins us virtually. You're welcome on the program. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Mr. Douglas. Various interactions, and we've often heard of the federal government's discussion plans, often termed as faulty from the Ogonis, and we really want to understand, for the Ogonis to be on a roundtable discussion for resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land, what can the federal government do? Maybe some grassroots steps that should be taken before this can be seen, or before the Ogonis will get to the discussion table on the resumption of oil exploration.
Well, no genuine step have been taken so far. No genuine. In the Ogoni struggle, it is very easy to discover what people are asking. It was documented. It was documented before the whole Ogoni, and Bill of Rights and the 100% implementation of the United report remain the cardinal point in which the government need to engage the Ogoni people. The community are not aware of what is going on. You cannot be talking about, we keep hearing about millions of dollars that was meant for the Ogoni people hijacked by people. Some people are using this crisis to make money, to enrich themselves. And by now, the federal government should be aware of what to do. The Ogoni Bill of Rights is a landmark document. It's a simple document. And to implement that document is as simple as ABCD. The government should get hold of those information and sincerely come down with people to tell them, look, people are ready to engage. People are ready to engage. But we also discovered that there is a political manipulations against interests of the entire Ogoni. So the only solution that the government needs to employ is to engage the Ogoni people on the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was a document that was drafted with the consent of the entire Ogoni. And there are A, B, C, D in that document. If you want to engage the people, we can see the genuine, see the sincerity.
Mr. Douglas Fabeke, can you? Oh, I think we're having network issues. That's Douglas Fabeke speaking to us on resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni, and of course, giving.
So I think that Bill of Rights stands as a document that if the federal government is sincere enough, can resolve this matter without any crisis. But if they keep going and beating about the bush, okay, the people are so intent than before. You cannot deceive us. You want to come and take oil, do the right thing, and the people will cooperate with you to take their oil. The oil was taken from 1958 to 1993. We see no value. Compensation has not been paid. Nothing has been done. And all you keep hearing is the people want to play politics. The people want to manipulate the people to say oil resumption. You have given all universities. There are other states that have universities. Those universities are there in the communities. This cannot be the solution of what our people die for.
Mr.
So
Douglas,
I am in support of that document called the Bill of Rights. Because if you go to the document, you are going to see
Mr. Douglas,
the
you can hear
list of what is in those documents
if you can
that
hear
are
me,
clear definition of what the government
Bill
can do.
of Rights. This was documented in 1990, and
I'm very sorry, I'm not hearing. I'm driving on the Top Mainland
I don't
Bridge
know
in
if you can hear me.
Lagos.
Within that period of time
So
till now, there must have been changes,
I cannot hear
there must have been adjustment. But what are those areas where the Ogonis believe this is non-negotiable if we must discuss resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land?
I'm not hearing.
Mr. Douglas, can you hear me?
I'm on the Top Mainland Bridge. I'm not hearing at all. There's no sound.
Okay, if you can hear me now, I'm talking of the Ogoni Bill of Rights, which had long been documented, I think, in 1990. And looking at the time frame between 1990 and this is 2026, a lot would have happened. But what areas in the Bill of Rights do you think is non-negotiable? That if the Ogonis must get to a discussion table with the federal government on resumption of oil exploration, these areas must, as a matter of urgency, be taken care of?
There is no sound. I'm not hearing.
All right.
I'm not hearing. I'm not hearing.
Mr. Fabuke, and we'll return and see how we can fix that glitch technically. Just take it.
For your news on the go, ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms. An Avo TV app, ADBN Channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Linexwell TV app. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp TV channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across social media handles. On X at ADBN TV, Instagram at ADBN TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV. Visiting our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch us live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Do you know what Gamalin 20 is? It is a dangerous chemical pesticide never meant for human consumption. Sadly, fishermen illegally use Gamalin 20 to catch fish, poisoning not just the water, but the food on your plate. Here's how to spot fish caught with Gamalin 20. Fish that look unusually fresh, but a strange chemical smell, sometimes like kerosene, when cooked. Pale gills, peeling scales, or sunken eyes. Eating such fish can cause nausea, vomiting, and even damage your liver and kidneys. In severe cases, it can lead to life-threatening health complications. Remember, using Gamalin 20 for fishing is a crime. It harms people, rivers, and marine life. Protect your health. Buy fish only from trusted sellers. Report suspicious fishing practices to the authorities. Together, let's keep waters safe and our meals healthy.
Into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Ama Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocates Broadcasting Network.
The overall function of the Parliament is adequate representation of their constituents in state echoes the Federation.
Removal of fuel subsidy to critical sectors
such as education and health, a call to unity and progress of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
NAS Unplugged is a program that will highlight topical issues from both chambers of the National Assembly, from bills, motions, and constituency projects.
Guys have it.
Catch the program on ADBN TV, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as we bring you activities of the National Assembly as it affects the people.
During the flood disaster in Maiduguri and its environs.
For increase in the number of judges in the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
The eyes have it.
NAS Unplugged, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m.
For your news on the go, ADBN is everywhere you are. Stay connected with us across all our social media and streaming platforms for exclusive news updates, captivating stories, and more. Join the ADBN community today via our various platforms. An Avo TV app, ADBN Channel 121, Niger TV app, ADBN TV, Linux Well TV app. To get the latest news straight to your phone, join our WhatsApp TV channel. Just search for ADBN TV and hit the follow button. Turn on your notification to stay updated and never miss any part of the experience. Stay in the conversation with us across social media handles. On X at ADBN TV, Instagram at ADBN TV, Facebook ADBN TV, YouTube ADBN TV. Keep our website on www.adbntv.com. Watch live anytime, anywhere. ADBN TV, a part of you.
Thanks for staying tuned. We're still talking Ogoni and planned resumption of oil exploration in the region, which of course civil society organizations are saying prescribing new conditions for that to be allowed. And we've been having a conversation with the president of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative, Mr. Douglas Fabeke, who's been speaking to us virtually. You're welcome back on the program. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm on the program. I'm getting you clear right now.
All right, thank you very much. And before that interruption, I had asked about the Ogoni Bill of Rights, which years had gone past since its documentation, and there must have been changes, but there should be some areas which the Ogonis term as non-negotiable. What are those aspects or sectors you feel the federal government, in order to resume discussions on exploration, these areas must be handled as a matter of urgency? Mr. Douglas, can you hear me? All right, while we're still trying to sort that out, we're having a conversation with President of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative, Mr. Douglas Fabeke, and this is concerning the recent discussions or talks about resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land, and a number of activities have sprung up with the people's intent, with the people's discussion and areas on sorting out different oil exploration issues with regards to the well-being of the people, the environmental cleanup, as well as some compensation that was left behind. And one of it has also been exoneration of some key personalities from the Ogoni land with regards to their fight for cleanup of the Ogoni land. We're still trying to establish our connections with Mr. Douglas Fabeke.
Well, Jenny, just before, as we keep trying, that aspect of the exoneration of the Ogoni 9 is another reason. I think that's part of the new demands that is coming up now. Already there were hush-hush comments around that a pardon isn't enough, because it makes it look as though they were guilty of a crime or something. And with this new conversation around an outright exoneration, it would have been interesting to know if Mr. Fabike can give us insights regarding how this is going to be achieved. Mr. Fabike, if you can hear us now, the exoneration of the Ogoni 9, that is part of the demands right now. Why is that crucial? Because we understand that the President Bola Tinubu, had already instituted a pardon for the Ogoni 9. If you could answer that in just a minute.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very sorry for network. I was on the top mainland bridge. I'm here in Lagos. You know, Lagos is a very traffic city. Yeah, for the first question you asked me, before I come back to Ogoni 9 as the exoneration of case, or we were 8 others, you are talking about the condition of oil distribution in Ogoni land. You talk about the Ogoni Bill of Rights, and you talk about the UNEP report, the clean up the environment. Fine. Now, there are things to remember here. When people came up, people came up and said, this is what we want. It was started in 1993. Everybody came up. There's everything about the Ogoni that we are not noticed about it. The Bill of Rights was a document that was drafted by our leader, cutting across the 6th kingdom of Ogoni. And that in that document, it was
well, I guess that's an apology for the network. It is really sad that we're not able to have this very crucial conversation as smoothly as we would have wanted it with Mr. Douglas Fabike, who is the president of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative. And with this particular topical issue around the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land and efforts that have already been made by the federal government to see to it that it's able to appease the sentiments and the hearts of the persons who were affected by those gruesome happenings. And it would seem as though the federal government's approach would still need to be revisited by persons who are interested in the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni land. And they believe that what is already on ground is not. They want a revisitation of the Ogoni Bill of Rights. They want an outright exoneration of the Ogoni 9 as against the pardon that was announced by President Bola Tinubu. And with all of these at the front burner, is going to be significant to see if these demands are going to see the light of day. And with insinuations that this could be another ploy to delay resumption of oil exploration, or some sort of a way of fermenting another round of trouble. It would have been really interesting if we could get Douglas Fabike to give us insight regarding if indeed this could lead to another round of protests. If, let's say, the federal government says it is not going to be hearkening to some of the stipulated demands, new demands that are surfacing, what would be the next line of action? It would be interesting to know what are the thoughts of the Ogoni Liberation Initiative, and if we are unable to reconnect with the president, we'll try as much as possible to conclude the conversation on a later date. Well, that's the size of Niger Delta today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Xavier Robert. We'll catch you again tomorrow for another fresh edition.
And I am Jennifer Pius. Thanks for being a part, and have a great Monday.
ADBN.